Hey, what's happening, guys? Good morning, and thank you for tuning into Rules for Rebels. Got another kind of personal finance video in a way for you guys today. Yesterday I made the video talking about the FIRE method, or the FIRE lifestyle, financial independence and retiring early, or FI, or FIRE as they call it. And it was kind of funny, the timing of that video. So I made that video on my way to get my morning coffee yesterday, and later in the morning, right after I get into my office, I get a text from my girlfriend. I found out my brother-in-law lost his job, and you know, I really felt for him, because I've been there before. It's incredibly scary losing a job. It's incredibly depressing. I know, you know, these days a lot of people, like, they identify with what their job is. You know, when you go to a party, hey, nice to meet you. What do you do? Oh, I'm a computer engineer. You know, people identify with their jobs, and I think that's kind of screwed up. I think we should identify as people and our interests and our families more so than like a job. A job is just a job. It's just meant to put food on the table. But regardless, you know, our identities, our self-confidence, all this stuff is kind of tied into our jobs. And he's had this job for, I want to say, 16 or 18 years. It's really his first job. You know, he's 40 years old. It's really his first job he's ever had that wasn't like a retail job. You know, he started at the bottom and kind of worked his way up, and he's in IT. Had a great job, great benefits, great insurance, a lot of time off. You know, because he worked for a university, his wife got to go to school for free, and he was kind of planning on his daughter going to high school and college for free, which was kind of a perk of his job at this university. So wound up getting laid off, and like I said, I mean, I really felt for him. I've been there before. It's incredibly scary losing a job. You know, not knowing how you're going to put food on the table. And also, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me that I'm kind of like socially awkward or whatever, but like, one of the things I hate the most in life is like having to start a new job, and that feeling of like, you know, going from a job that you've been at forever and you're comfortable with and you know what to do and you know what you can get away with, and then you go to a new job and you're like clueless and you feel lost, and you're having to learn all the new people and having to learn all the new ways of doing things, and it really sucks. So I guess in this video I kind of wanted to talk about how to be prepared for, you know, when life hits you with shitstorms, when life gives you lemons, how to not only make lemonade, but take those lemon rinds and just shove them right up life's ass, and you know, say you picked the wrong one. So, you know, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing you need is a positive mental attitude and mental toughness. Now, how do you develop this? You know, I'm huge into personal development and personal growth. So I listen to Jim Rohn, Les Brown, all these motivational, self-improvement, personal development tapes and recordings on YouTube. I know a lot of people say like, oh, motivation and personal development is garbage. I personally find it to be very helpful. I personally find it to give me a lot of insights, to be very motivating. And I know a lot of people say motivation doesn't last, and that is true. And Jim Rohn has one of the best comebacks for that ever, and he says, neither does bathing, but I'm still going to take a bath every day. So motivation is only temporarily, but if you're constantly keeping yourself motivated and putting positive messages into your head, you are going to have positive results. You just can't help it. So every day, on my way to work, on my way home to work, before I go to bed, and even when I'm at the gym, I listen to personal development and personal growth tapes. My girlfriend kind of laughs at me. She thinks it's funny. She's like, you know, don't you want to like listen to music and get pumped up? And I'm like, you know, this stuff does pump me up and inspire me. So that's what I listen to working out, and really with any free time that I have. I know when a lot of people get hit with an obstacle, they feel defeated and they just want to kind of curl up into a ball. And if you have this kind of positive mental attitude and this mental toughness, you know, you're going to be equipped to, when you hit an obstacle, to plow right through it, as opposed to just curling up in a ball and dying. And that's one of the things that you really need, is a positive mental attitude. Now, in terms of like when you lose a job and things like that, another thing you're going to need is to be prepared. Like if you lose a job and you haven't done any preparation, yeah, you're kind of screwed. But I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey, and this is kind of getting into the personal finance end of things. Dave Ramsey recommends having a Dave Ramsey recommends having a 3 to 6 months emergency fund to be able to cover all your expenses. So this way, if you do lose a job, you're not having to run out and find the first job that you're able to get, because that definitely handcuffs you. You know, like if you have no money to put food on the table, to heat the house, to pay the mortgage, and you have to go get a job at, you know, McDonald's or 7-Eleven or whatever else just to pay the bills, it's so much harder to find the time to go interview and search for jobs when you're tied down 8 or 9 hours a day than it is if you know, you have a little bit of a safety net, a little bit of a cushion there, and you can kind of take your time to find the right job. So that's another thing, is being prepared, having an emergency fund. And not to get too far off topic, but like just a couple tips, like if start putting away $5 or $10 per paycheck into like a car repair fund. If you don't need a car repair for a year, even $10 per paycheck, if you get paid twice per month, per year, that's what, $440. If you don't need a car repair for 2 years, that's like $880. Like by the time you do need a repair, you have that money built up that you probably didn't even notice missing, that you can throw towards that repair. Start building up emergency funds so that, you know, whether it's a car repair, an unexpected medical expense, a dental expense, you know, a furnace goes out, whatever it is that life throws at you, you got an emergency fund to fall back on. And specifically if you wind up being out of a job, you're not having to rush and grab the first thing that comes your way. So that's another thing, is kind of have emergency funds and be prepared. Another thing you're going to want to do is develop skills. Always be learning, always be growing. A while back, we did a book review for MJ DeMarco's The Millionaire Fast Line, and he talked about how most people, when they finish high school or finish college, that's the end of their growth, right? They do whatever they need to do to get by at their work, whatever the work maybe forces them to learn additional skills, they'll do that, but nobody continues to educate themselves and develop skills. Or I shouldn't say nobody, but very few people continue to do that. And if you continue to do that, you make yourself even more valuable. So A, you're less likely to lose your job, and B, if you do lose your job, you have so many in-demand skills that other employers are going to want that, you know, you're going to be able to find another job very, very easily. The day and age of companies having loyalty towards you is done. Companies don't care about you. If they can save $50 a year off the bottom line by getting rid of you, you're gone. So, you know, it's essentially a game. Again, the days where you work for a company for 30 or 40 years and they take care of you through retirement and make sure you have medical care and a pension, those days are gone. The days when you get laid off from a company and they have a 3-month or 6-month severance package for you, those days are gone. My brother-in-law, 16, 18 years working for his employer, no severance package. I mean, he'll be able to collect unemployment probably, but I mean, that's a pittance. So, you know, make yourself valuable. The workplace is a game. You want your workplace to be a place to where if you leave, they're screwed. The place can't function without you. There's going to be major hiccups. And if that's the case, they're going to be much less likely to get rid of you. In a lot of bigger companies, everything's very segmented, right? So if you're an accountant, it's not even like you're in charge of the whole accounting department. You're in charge of one certain task. And the reason they do that is because if they need to get rid of you, it's very easy to replace you. They can train somebody to do this one task. I've worked in startups before, in smaller companies, and there you're kind of a jack of all trades. You have your hands in all types of things. So there, if they need to get rid of you, it's going to have a much bigger effect on them. But your goal is to make yourself as indispensable as possible. And another thing, your goal when you're working for somebody, you want to try to squeeze out as much money out of them as possible with putting in, you know, I'm not saying be lazy, but you want to squeeze as much money out of them with the least amount of hours and time and effort, and they want to try to squeeze as much work and time out of you for the least amount of money. So it's a game, it's a balancing act, it's a game of cat and mouse, and in order for you to come out ahead, you want to make sure that you have the skills to make yourself indispensable so that you can get more money for less work and less effort. And that's another thing you want to do. And then the last thing, and this in my mind is one of the most important things. I think a positive attitude and a mental toughness is incredibly important. But one of the things that's almost the most important thing is side hustles. We talk a lot about side hustles on this channel. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me, when's the side hustle series coming back? I had some interview. I wanted to take some time off around the holidays. I've kind of gotten lazy and I kind of forgot about it. But we're going to get back into the side hustle series. And in some of the side hustle we've talked about, people have lost their jobs, but because they had an existing side hustle going, it actually wound up being an opportunity as opposed to a tragedy. And I realize not every side hustle is going to be able to replace somebody's full-time income. But at the very least, if you get laid off and you have nothing going and you're needing to start a side hustle from scratch, it's going to take a long time to build up. If you have an established side hustle going, even if it's not bringing in a ton of money, if for, you know, God forbid, if you wind up losing your job, you already have something started, and now you can plow your full-time attention into it and maybe grow it into something really, really large. Also, a side hustle, regardless of how much money it's bringing in, at least it's bringing in some money. So my brother-in-law who got laid off, he, right now he's going to be collecting unemployment. I guarantee you it's not going to cover all the bills. But if you had a side hustle going, even if it's only bringing in $200 a month, that's enough to pay a car note. That's enough to pay the cell phone bills. That's enough to put maybe a week or two worth of groceries on the table. So whatever your side hustle is bringing in is just gravy, right? It's a little bit of extra money. And if you have a side hustle going that you're not counting on that income, right? Because you have a full-time job that pays the bills, the side hustle is just gravy. That side hustle can be used to put into an emergency fund or put into investments or invest into your business or something like that. So like I said, I was really kind of sad for my brother-in-law when I heard this, and I really feel for him, because it's a horrible feeling losing your job, and it's really scary, kind of not knowing how you're going to pay the bills and things like that. And their family kind of has some health challenges, so insurance is going to be like a huge issue. And over the years, I've tried to get him to start businesses. I've tried to partner up with him on businesses. Very, very skilled computer guy. I tried to get him to help me out with like designing apps and things like that. I've tried to get him to help me out with like setting up like a mining rig. At one point when my business lost our eBay and PayPal account, I tried to get him to sell online for me, and it probably would have been like not 60,000 profit, but the business on eBay would have done about 60,000 per week actually. Very small percentage of that is profit, but nonetheless, he could have made a good buck there. And anytime I've tried to get him into things, he never really wanted to take action and follow through and get something going. And had he done that with me, he probably would have had, I don't know if it would replace a full-time income, but at least he would have had some money coming in. So I haven't talked to him about this yet, but I really want to try to get him set up on like Thumbtack doing computer repair gigs. He can work, I was going to try to set him up a website. He can work remotely. I mean, computer guys make what, 35 to 50 to, maybe even $100 an hour. Even just kind of doing basic IT stuff, helping older people, reinstall the operating system on their computer or update Windows, or heck, even though my grandparents are always asking me to change the font on their computer. Like, there are a ton of opportunities out there. I'm hoping that I can kind of inspire him and make sure that rather than kind of curling up into a ball and feeling defeated, he's a very smart guy, he's a very skilled guy, and I'd love to see him kind of use those skills to start bringing in some money, and hopefully he can find a job quickly. But who knows? Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe this is an opportunity, and it'll lead to him starting his own business or something. I'm not really sure, but again, was really kind of felt for him. Was really kind of sad to hear about this, and so figure I'd kind of make a video about it, share it with you guys. So again, positive attitude and mental toughness, having an emergency plan, having emergency funds so that you have some money to fall back on, and having a side hustle are three things that can kind of help you weather the shitstorm of life when life gives you lemons. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. I'm really grinding, trying to get to that 100,000 subscribers. I want to get a silver play button. I always joke that I'm hanging on my wall in my office, but I do so many videos in the car. Maybe I should hang it in the back seat here. But please subscribe. Help me try to hit that 100,000 and get that silver play button. I'd love to hear some of your guys' stories about how you've come back from adversity, how you've dealt with a job loss, etc. So drop those in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.